The Amazing Digital Circus Episode 7 has finally been released, and thankfully so, because we just got the craziest one to date. This is the type of episode I yelled at my screen when it finished because of how angry I was we have to wait another 100 days for the next one. I need to be honest with all of you, because I keep making Jax videos, but I need to come out and say it's because he is easily the most interesting character in the entire show by a long shot. Okay, sure, Caine and King are also really interesting to watch, but Jax is consistently the one that is not consistent with the way he's portrayed, and that easily makes him 10 times better to talk about. And after this episode, wow, do I have a really great video for all of you today. There's something about this episode that one-ups the best part of the previous episode, to the likes of which that made me hate Jax for a moment before turning my hate towards another character just by the atmosphere of a specific scene. This video is here to combat the absurd claims that Jax is acting selfish in this specific episode. Not all of them, but specifically this one, because I'm going to teach you today why Jax is not selfish, he's a victim. Make sure to like, comment, hype, join my Discord server, link in the description, and subscribe, because if I can somehow reach 50k subscribers before next year, I will reveal my face underneath a PNG of me, so please help us get there. Now look, let's get this out of the way. To start this off, Jax was definitely about to abstract right here. A comparison I haven't heard anyone mention is that this scene is very reminiscent of the cinematography in a pretty under-the-radar horror film called Skinamarink, and has a similar scene that involves random stuff appearing and disappearing. I might also like to add that I know a lot of people have already come out to the conclusion I'm making, but a piece of evidence I haven't seen anyone else bring up is how we already know Kaufmo abstracted in his room as well. And sure, we don't know how others like Scratch and Ribbit were abstracted, but to witness an abstraction happen behind closed doors in a room like that makes me believe that Jax, especially with his glowing eyes, was close to just giving into the abstraction. Although this specific scene doesn't show any victimization of Jax, it does come into play with the big explanation I will have at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Something else that we see nowhere else is how unenthusiastic Jax can be, especially when it comes to doing something he's obviously not supposed to do. You can't tell me that Jax hasn't grown as a character when we compare how Jax endangered an entire city of NPCs to suddenly not wanting to come along with the rest of the gang to sneak into a secret Chinese room. Since the previous one, we have seen a new side of him that shows he's suppressing a lot of what his true thoughts are, and it's no different here. But what's really fascinating is that Jax puts on the same act when talking to Zubul, only for his trippy hallucination scene to suddenly destroy that part of his characterization for the rest of the episode. There is no point here where he looks happy. He's still sarcastic, but he doesn't approach it with his usual smugness, but instead with a genuine sense of annoyance and despair. The only times he smiles after his hallucination is when he's making fun of the plan they have, when he has to act happy so that Caine will open his mouth, when he gloats about how he got the key twice, and when he's laughing maniacally at the end of the episode. There are 5 places in total where he smiles, and the 3 that I want to focus on are the 2 times he gloats about getting the key and his maniacal laughing. Now what puzzled me for a bit is why exactly did Jax gloat? He had a strong, consistently inconsistent frown on his face for most of the episode, and although the 2 previous times he smiled were out of annoyance and because he had to act happy for Caine, in these 2 spots he actually looks happy. Here's the thing though, if we apply what we learned about Jax in the last episode, it explains why Jax is still acting right here. Last episode during the bathroom scene, Jax has a panic attack due to how he notices everything he was building up with Pomni has suddenly crumbled, and as soon as he walks out of the bathroom, he's back to being happy. Same thing applies for these 2 scenes. It's pretty clear that he most likely dislikes Zubul because of the banter they have back and forth since episode 1, but he uses the uncomfortable situation he was in with Caine to smile about while explaining how good he is, trying to revert back to his normal personality only to lose it once he's reminded of what might be waiting for him on the outside. Jax is just putting on another act for Zubul because he refuses to accept reality, but when reality comes crashing back into his life, he can't help but break away from the act and be real. This is the same thing that happened last episode, and it's once again more proof on how insecure Jax really is about himself, and opens up on a new doorway for his past that we have 2 episodes to learn more about before the show is over. Just to remind or warn all of you, the Amazing Digital Circus will only have 9 episodes in Season 1, and Season 2 will never happen, specifically because Gooseworks doesn't want to run the story on for multiple seasons of filler since she knows exactly how she wants to end it. So we only have 2 episodes to learn everything that we need to know about Jax. If this is a shock to you, don't worry. Just brace yourself for whatever crazy things are going to happen in this next episode after episode 7's insane ending. Speaking of that insane ending, let's talk about Jax's final moment of smiling throughout the entire episode. Moving into the climax of this episode, I'll be honest, I was unsure what I was going to make this a video about because there were a lot of cool things that happened, but I didn't know how to connect all of them just yet. Hell, you may even realize I haven't been fulfilling the title of this video, but I'm about to do it right here, right now, because everything I have mentioned before is crucial to what this video is about, and how this defense of Jax's character will either make or break the show depending on what happens in these final 2 episodes. Let's finally tie everything together in my final defense that Jax is a victim, and his final decision of hitting the button that would strand everyone in the digital circus for seemingly forever was not chosen by him, but instead by Caine. Something necessary about this decision is that either way, Caine was going to pop out and tell everyone this was today's adventure the whole time, so regardless of what they picked, they would never have gotten free. What could be seen as a selfish move by Jax to act on his impulses after seeing a real-life flashback, we have a perfectly executed move by Caine himself manipulating Jax into pressing the red button by scaring him to activate his fight or flight response. Jax pushed the red button not by Caine literally taking over his body and forcing him to, but instead by terrorizing him throughout the episode so much that when he finally showed him pieces of his human life, he acted on his impulses and seemingly trapped them all. There is no way that Jax could have known for sure that this is an adventure, and his decision was definitely one that was made without taking anyone else's thoughts into mind, which would be selfish, but he does it by abandoning his smug personality and reacting on instinct that if he doesn't do something, he'll never escape these nightmarish hallucinations he's having. There is a huge difference between a fight and flight response and a selfish response. If Jax went up to the button and clicked it before turning to them all and smiling about it, that would be selfish. But just like last episode where Jax had a panic attack in the bathroom, instead of being able to calm himself down, we see the outcome of the further pressure Caine put on his mind. Caine abused his AI powers to influence Jax's mental state and use it to his advantage. This leads us right into the last time Jax smiles. After finding out that he was right about something, he falls to the ground and starts laughing like he's insane before returning right back to reality once again, angrier than he had ever been before, calling Caine out for lying. Jax was right that Abel was a twist villain, but he was referring to how he was right that Caine does have more power than he disclosed with the group, and that was how he was able to turn him vegan in episode 5. It's a bombshell twist that changes the course this show can go and leaves the audience helpless, truly realizing there is no way for them to escape unless the final 2 episodes changes that. Jax smiled and laughed because he found satisfaction out of knowing he was right, but because he also couldn't believe it himself before putting together all the pieces I have put together in this video and figuring out that Caine is behind everything he experienced, and that only if he had the logical choice to choose blue or red, he would have chosen blue, but Caine's manipulation was way too strong. This episode has proven that Jax is growing out of his selfish nature the more the stakes rise. And now we are left on a huge cliffhanger that has changed the show enough that it can never go back to the way it was. Jax may have been the most evil character up to this point in the show, but the more we learn about what him and the gang are up against, the more we see that Jax might be the smartest character hidden behind a mask of a fake smile. Caine has always been the true villain, and although Jax has done inexcusable things, he's the first one to actually take a rightful stand against Caine and call him out directly about his lies and manipulation. It's sad to see Jax had to be broken to fix his confused yet correct theory, but there's no turning back now, and Jax may be the key in these final 2 episodes. This is easily my favorite episode of the show and has taken the cake for having some of the greatest scenes so far. I just want to say that in 2 weeks I'm going to do another Digital Circus video on Caine and the role he has played in this episode, but I'm going to talk about that new SpongeBob movie first, so subscribe and stay tuned for that. With that said, thank you everybody for watching. I'm Enchanted. Bye.